This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back on over to our pop feed. I am one of your lovely hosts, Miranda. You hear my voice many times on this feed, and that's okay. That's why you're here, right? No, just kidding. No, you're here because this is the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppetational podcast. And of course, it wouldn't be a Muppet podcast without my other half, Mr. Andy Atherton himself. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm great, Miranda. I am here for you. That's the reason I'm here. But
I'm here for you. Also, I think they're here for Muppets. I don't think they're really
Well, the love of we have for the Muppets and our unplanned hiatus. It's more of like my hiatus because I had experienced a little bit of burnout and things just got crazy at the holidays. But one thing that we've been trying to do is get back into the little groove we had when we started this pod. But now hopefully we're back and we will get this on a semi-regular, hopefully monthly drop, because we have after today we have 2 more of these pods, and then we get to do a movie, something that though in our hiatus actually we have dropped 2 pods that were originally done on Stream Lounge because we got together and we did the very, very funny Muppet Haunted Mansion.
Yes.
Which I saw that and immediately was like, Miranda, we need to watch it. We did. It was a tremendous amount of fun. And also because of Christmas time, we did the Muppet Christmas Carol. Yes. So we have done some Muppet stuff. We just haven't been here to discuss the Muppet Show proper, which I have been itching to get back to. I'm excited. I'm happy to be podcasting. Also we also did the Disney pod with Steve, but I love when it's just you and I, and we go back to like our roots a little bit, and we just talk about something that's ours. This, and plus also, I was been doing some home decorating, and I got some Muppet figures up on the shelves finally. So I've been in a Muppet kind of mood. So I'm very happy to be back with you, Miranda.
Awesome. I'm glad to have you here with me, too. It is, I used to feel really guilty. I'll just tell people real quick. I used to feel really guilty anytime I would be like, Andy, I have to cancel, or Andy, I need to take a break, or like and I wouldn't feel guilty when you would ask me those things, but for some reason I've always felt really guilty when a show of mine has gone hiatus or break. I have another show right now, which I'm sure people know what I'm talking about, but I have another show right now. It's been on break for actually a really long time, and I realized the other day as I was listening to like a few podcasts I listen to that are considered like really big podcasts that they take breaks too. Because she was like, I'm really sorry. I haven't been here for you guys in like a month and a half. And I stopped because I'm a binge podcaster. So I will take breaks from listening and then I'll go back and I'll listen to like 20 at a time. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop feeling guilty. So, I'm appreciative that everyone has come back, but we're human, and so sometimes we're going to have to take breaks. It's just unfortunately what it is. Like, it's not. This is not our day job, like for either of us.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, there are going to be times we take breaks. But I'm very glad that we could bring you in that hiatus, in that break time. The 2, they are up on the feed as podcast. If you didn't see them, you can go back and look for them. And you can just listen to them in podcast form if you'd like to, or if you want to watch Andy and I make faces and hand gestures at each other about Muppets, go on over to Stream Lounge and you can find it under my name listed at Mom's Nerd or yours, correct?
I have it under Laughing Theater there. Yeah, I have two profiles on Stream Lounge.
But you can find it under either profile. And if you're going on over Stream Lounge, go ahead and give us a follow there, because if you do that, when we decide to do these Muppet watches or any other watches that we do on there, you'll be notified like so-and-so you follow is about to go live. So then you can join us in the moment and be part of the conversation over there as well.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about our involvement with Stream Lounge later, because we're gonna start doing a little bit more on there. And also more people are starting to come into the fold of Stream Lounge a little bit from the Place to Be Nation family. It's one of those things like it's like you've never tried it or it hasn't worked out well for you, and and it's like, I don't know. And then once you do it, and it's fun, and and everything goes well technically, it becomes a little addicting. And you're like, oh,
it really does. We kind of
and those guys are tremendous. I actually had a Zoom call with one of them very recently about bringing something else that Place Nation is more known for onto Stream Lounge. So that should be coming soon. But yeah, they just brought on HBO Max within the last few months. And they're looking to bring on, there's still a few streaming services out there that they don't have on, most namely Peacock, which I believe is in the works, and Hulu, which may not be for a little bit, but they're trying to get as much streaming on there, and there are new people coming on there all the time. Miranda's funny. I actually saw somebody on there. They were like 9 hosts for like High School Musical, and I was like, and it just perplexed me, Tim Capel, and we're like, the chat box had like 1 line. It was like, that's how many people were in there. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, so
it's pretty fantastic though.
It's emerging. We're in very early in there, so
yeah. So we kind of got in on the ground floor thanks to their like invitation. Actually, like usually I hear podcasters and they're like, they reached out to us, and I'm like, I'm going to be able to say that one day. Well, I can say that. So.
Yeah, it was.
They did.
Well, it was via the Geeks Who Like Sports guys.
But it was kind of like
Ray,
yeah.
Who I love those guys, and they do stuff on there. And if you're they've been doing a lot of like the streaming, like the Star Wars streaming shows, and they do some of the Marvel streaming, where we do it on Pop Goes to the Couch. We do more of like a review. They do a live watch, and those guys, like, man, they make my head spin how much they know about this geek culture. Sure. So check it out. But that's enough about Stream Lounge. Muppets are on Stream Lounge because they're on Disney Plus. But and we're here just to talk about the Muppet Show right now. Miranda, where did we leave off? We're in season 1, right?
Yeah, we are in season 1. So this is our episode 4. It's our episode 4 because we had 2 specials in there. We are in season 1, currently covering the Muppet Show episodes 13 through 16. To give you a quick refresher, all of these will be broken down into 4 episodes at a time. Most of the episodes run about 30-minute time slots. It is on Disney Plus. If you want to, you can follow along and watch the show while we discuss it, or you can go back and watch it later. The premise of the show, obviously, it's a nighttime comedy sketch show with a special guest, and instead of lots of humans, it's Muppets with 1 human special guest.
Yes.
And Andy and I have been playing a game that became accidental. Because as we were going through these, each special guest, each episode is a different one. I was like, I don't know them. Oh my God, they've passed away. So we now have tallies, which we'll be able to get back to this episode of Miranda didn't know them, which current score is 5. So that's
I've had 12 so far.
I've had 5 that I did not know so far. And obviously I don't have any marked down for today yet, and no longer with us. Also 5, which unfortunately is about to go up.
Yeah, it's going to go up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So episode 13 is Bruce Forsyth, and I usually tell you guys did you know who he was, by the way?
No, I recognize the face.
Yes,
but when I was going through and you read like who the guest stars are, like I'm like, I don't know who Bruce Forsyth is. I kind of like remember him a little bit. But I couldn't. Yeah, I did not recognize the name at all. No.
The name, I'm with you. The name, I was like, have no clue. But then I saw his face, not his younger face, but like him as an older gentleman, and I was like, oh yes. So Sir Bruce Joseph Forsyth Johnson was actually a British entertainer. Unfortunately, he does get moved to the past category. I didn't mark him as did not know him because I said familiar ? Because obviously with you, I knew the face. He was born February 22nd of 1928, and unfortunately he passed away August 18th of 2017. And was a British entertainer and presenter whose career spanned more than 70 years. He actually was in the Guinness World Records, or still is recognized as having the longest television career for a male entertainer.
Wow.
He hosted game shows. He got national attention in the 50s through ITV's series Sunday Night in the London Palladium. He is very, I mean, he's done a lot of British stuff, but yeah, look, if you look his face up, you're probably going to be like, yes, I also didn't know his name, but he's going to be one of those that you add to the list called that guy, you know, like.
And he looks very British looking too, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. So he is our special guest for this episode, and Fozzie is one of our main characters this time, and he's got a plan to get back at Statler and Waldorf.
Yes.
When he does his act, but is crushed and replaced by our special guest, Bruce Forsyth. Fozzie does throw some nasty jokes, and for the first and last time, leaves our two old codgers rather speechless. So let's go through the songs and sketches and beautifulness that is this show. We usually break it down. Muppet theme, Gonzo this time. This is repeated from episode 102, actually. He breaks the O. It's like Gonzo's special gag. He does something different. If you're new here, Gonzo does something different at the beginning of each episode in front of the sign that says The Muppet Show. And this time he just breaks the O. He's up to craziness.
And he never seems like expected too. Like
like every time he does it, he like breaks the O and he's like,
like when he like looks at the gong or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't remember if we talked about these little guys yet or not, but the first skit we get, or the first group, is the Snurfs. Then they dance to In a Little Spanish Town.
Yeah, they're cute. They look like basically pipe cleaners with feet. And
it looks like something that your kid would bring home from school, where the teacher was like, just be quiet. Like it's just a creative be quiet time thing.
Yeah, but I mean, like something that we've seen a lot is this. I forgot exactly what the style is called, but it's where everything is black. And the performers are all in black, and they're there, and you can't see them, but you just see the puppets, Muppets moving, and that's how they're able to do some of the movements and everything. So while similar to if you ever went to the Voyage of the Little Mermaid at Disney Hollywood Studios, they did the show the same way. So it's very cool. It's a great use of the performance style, I thought.
It is. They're basically fuzzy little tubes with eyes.
Yeah.
They actually created these. Like, I guess you could buy them. Like, I've not seen them on the market, so it's probably something that if you came across is probably a lot of is very expensive. They first licensed Muppet dolls rather when the characters they created were Kermit, Ralph, and the Snurfs. Believe it or not, were the first like three. But there's no evidence that it actually was manufactured and sold. Like, they were created. So I'm sure there's one out there or a couple out there because there's probably prototypes, but these things they look like something you can make with pipe cleaners and pom-poms and eyeballs. Yeah, some of the Muppet
merchandise or whatever is out there, but some of them were really hard to come by. Like I told you, I have Muppet figures, I have some up, but I have some glaring holes in my Muppet collection. I mean, I do have the Swedish Chef's Kitchen. I have the Pigs in Space set. I have the Muppet Newsman. I have a lot of the figures, but I'm missing most of the Electric Mayhem. They had an Electric Mayhem set with Animal, and they also had the Backstage set with Scooter, which was hard to find. So I may get back to looking for them. But yeah, sometimes they throw these little things in with some of the figures. So I think I may have seen it in some collection. But yeah.
Who knows? And you have a Kermit too.
Yeah, I do. I do have a Kermit. I have two. I had two Kermits. I had a Kuzbanian Kermit. You're talking about? Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm talking about my figures. I had my Kuzbanian Kermit was stolen. No, it was I had a friend of mine that I worked with, and when she left, she took something off my desk to remember me by, and didn't tell me. And then I sat there. I'm like, she stole my Kuzbanian Kermit. But no, Miranda's referring to a Kermit puppet that she sent me for Christmas. But
unfortunately, they didn't tell you that there was a package on your porch and poor Kermit sat out there for I don't know how long.
Yeah, and I literally sat in my kitchen cracking up as soon as I opened it. because that's what Miranda is good. I can tell you, Miranda is good for making you smile and making you laugh. And a lot of times, there's times when you could use one. So, and unbeknownst to her.
I never know, but I was like, I didn't even want to tell you either, but I was like, hey, have you checked your front porch? You're like, no, they never put anything on my front porch. And I was like, oh, well, hope that's your front porch, because our backstage gag is going to have a lot to do with Fozzie, obviously. He's a little upset right now. We have a duck that approaches Kermit, excited that she finally has a punchline to her act down. Quack.
I wrote in my notes, like, who is this duck? Like, where I have no recollection of this duck.
Well, they just throw things in there like this sometimes. So maybe that.
It's like when those two characters show up on Lost.
I actually put in.
They show up.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I actually put Sesame Street ?
Yeah, I know. I don't think she's from
my notes. I was like, is she from Sesame Street, maybe? Kermit is not very enthusiastic about her quack punchline, and the bitter duck wanders away, complaining, like, audibly. So Fozzie has decided he is ready to handle any insults that Statler and Waldorf might throw at him tonight. He asks Kermit to test him, having the frog insult his jokes. And when he does, Fozzie's technique to ward off hecklers is by begging, oh, please don't heckle me. Which to me is just, like, I was dying for some reason at that. It's not one of the funniest parts, but for some reason, sometimes the parts I find the funniest are not even what they intend to be super funny. So. Bruce Forsyth does perform All I Need Is the Girl, and he is interrupted by a gawky bird, which is what it's actually called. I looked this up. I was like,
quite smitten.
Yeah, I looked this up because I was like, what is bird? And then when I was looking it up, it actually, like, where you can, like, click on the names of things, it was gawky bird. And I was like, okay, so that's a thing. The gawky birds are actually a large-scale rod puppet. Originally, they were conceived for a live musical to be performed at New York's Lincoln Center. So they were just regularly, or later, just kind of used in occasional numbers and productions. And this is one of those. The gawky birds actually stand at 11 feet tall and are along the largest Muppets. So I have to know, is this the large Muppet that bothers you?
No.
No, because it's not human-like.
Yeah, it's the human. It's the mixture of human and Muppet. That's really what bothers me.
Another game that Miranda started playing is Andy bothered by the Muppet?
Yes, because the Muppets, like the Swedish Chef, who much I love, sometimes freaks me out because he's got human hands. So, like, and then when you have, like, the giant Muppets that, like, just have, like, Muppet heads and Muppet hands, but they're human. You know they're humans. Like, my brain is telling me they're humans in Muppet things. They're not true Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
let me just tell you something. I know Muppets aren't real, okay?
I know. It's fine. Everybody has, and there are going to be people out there that are going to be like, I'm literally scared of nothing, or I have no irrational fears. And I just want to tell you, you are lying to yourself. You have an irrational fear about something. I do. But anyway. Yeah, so you're right. These birds are, like, quite smitten with him, and they start kind of actually attacking him, to which he starts calling out, Mr. Hitchcock, Mr. Hitchcock.
Yes, it's quite funny.
Which side terrifying story, guys need to go on NPR's Instagram and see this horrific, like, giant 1,000 flock of birds that, like, randomly just fell out of the sky in Mexico. Like, some of them flew away and were fine, and others are just, like, dead all over the place. And I myself screamed Hitchcock when I saw that earlier today. I know we're not like a paranormal Terry I can't even talk now. We're not like that kind of podcast, but since we're talking about Hitchcock and birds, like, please take it.
Oh, that would freak out Ellen. She hates birds. She's so afraid of them.
Oh, it freaked me out. I'm not afraid of them, but I want them to stay. They're beautiful. Stay over there, though.
Yes.
Yeah. So we go to Fozzie again, and he has mastered the art of handling hecklers. And he asks Kermit to test him again. And when Kermit heckles Fozzie this time, he is hit with his rubber chicken, which, Fozzie's known for his rubber chicken. He's concerned, though, that this might be too subtle of a response. What say you, Andy? Is being hit with a rubber chicken too subtle of a response?
No, not really.
No, I think it's pretty evident what you're trying to get at.
Yes.
One of our favorite reoccurring sketches is At the Dance. I wrote down, so one of the jokes that's really funny at the end is the light up one. But did you catch the American history jokes?
No,
From
I didn't.
Piggy and the pig in space pig. I call him Pig.
Oh, with was it trying to remember, it's Dr. Swinepork, I think.
Yeah,
who becomes Dr. Swinepork.
Yeah. So they're dancing together, and she's like, I love American history, and she starts naming off things, and she doesn't name like Franklin, and he's like, well, what about Franklin? And she's like, I don't know, I've never been to Franklin, and I don't know why. But I lost my crap on that one. I was like,
yeah, that's kind of, I've never frankled.
Never frankled. Okay. I knew it was never Franklin, frankled. I was like.
You mind if I light up? Why no?
Why no? Well, we had one before where he's like, mind if I smoke? And he literally like catches on fire. And it may be the same little guy.
Yeah, it could be.
It could be. And as we've mentioned before, like, I know we're going kind of fast on some of these, so I apologize if you're like, slow down. There's a lot of skits to get through in some of these, and we don't want to leave them behind. These are part of Disney Plus. So if you go to watch on Disney Plus, they do include what is referred to as the UK spot. And that means that sketch or joke or slide in there was only part of when they aired it in the UK. It was not when they aired it in the US. And if you remember, Andy and I told you guys before that, like, if you look up the season 1, like, the air date for the US is different than the air date in the UK. They were usually like a week or so apart or something like that, weren't they, Andy? They were, they were off by a little bit. So we get lucky enough that if you're watching them on Disney Plus, which most of you probably are, you actually get that UK spot. And I'm so glad we get it because we have the Jubilee Jug Band again. It's the Go Go La La, right? Go 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 La La.
They're doing I Am My Own Grandpa, I think this is.
I Am My Own Grandpa.
Yes. I think it's fun because it's a nice juxtaposition to the Electric Mayhem, and it's always a fun, upbeat number. They're not very distinct characters, so you just kind of just enjoy the music. There's nothing like takes away like Animal or Dr. Teeth or I love the Electric Mayhem, but sometimes you don't focus as much on the music. It is really just about like a nice Southern song.
It's like their country bumpkin counterparts. Yeah, basically.
And they have like I think 5 teeth combined, 6 teeth. I'm counting. I have it on right now.
Oh, you counting them?
6 teeth combined.
Yeah. They do have similarities to the Electric Mayhem, though. If you notice, like, they have a purple one with sunglasses. They have, like little tiny things. But you're right. Like, you can't really see any of them's eyeballs. They're just furry, fuzzy, no teeth having. Just there. Reoccurring on every single episode we have is our talk spot, and that's where the guest comes out and usually talks with Kermit about different topics. And this one, I don't know, I thought it was really odd. Like, I don't know, I didn't really find this one funny. Like, it was just strange. So you can, if you felt otherwise, please tell me, because
I mean, the duck shows up again.
Yeah, the duck again.
Yeah.
And he's talking about, he's stating, so it's Bruce, obviously our special guest, the talk spot, a special guest and Kermit usually having a discussion. And Bruce feels strange being on the Muppet Show, stating that he'll buy Kermit as Talking Frog. He'll buy that, meaning Like, oh, I mean, it took me a second, and I'm not dumb, but like, I don't know why, but like, he's like, I'll buy that you're a talking frog, which means like, I get it, I can understand that. I'll even buy the chicken sharing his dressing room, but he has but Kermit's like, stop. The chicken's not for sale. Her husband plays in the band. I probably would sell her, but her husband plays in the band.
It kind of freaks me out in this sketch a little bit because he picks up like the bird, the robin, and the duck, and it's like all of a sudden it's like detached from what was controlling it, so it like goes from like being a Muppet to being like a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
And then we cut back to it, and it comes back, and
it was just weird.
Piggy storms in here.
A scuffle.
Yes, he kind of goes toe to toe with her until he gets the hi-ya.
Everybody
he sticks his finger in her nose.
Yeah, he sticks his finger in her nose and like pull. Yeah, I was like, oh my god. This one, I don't know. It's a funny joke. I get what you're saying. I'll buy that you're a talking frog. I'll buy that you're a chicken. And I understand Kermit being like, not understanding that and being like, you can't buy the chicken. But in the end, they actually do. He ends up leasing a duck for a pig and a rat, receiving the change of a woodpecker. I don't know. I just didn't find it that funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was just strange. But we get to get back to Fozzie, and that's what matters for a moment, because I love Fozzie. So Kermit is knowing that Fozzie is concerned about being heckled, and he promises that Statler and Waldorf will not bother him tonight. The show's running really long, and Fozzie's act has actually been cut out. So he doesn't have to worry about being heckled because they don't have time for him.
Aww.
Yeah, poor Fozzie.
And he faints, and then the duck shows up again.
Yeah, what is this duck?
Sorry, but I'm like, what is? I feel like Timon and the Lion King. Like, what's with the monkey? Like,
right.
I'm like, what is with this? What's this duck?
What is with this?
I don't remember this duck, and why is this duck here?
Again, I think I wrote for the second time Sesame Street. Like, I'm not sure. Was she a duck from Sesame? I remember there being ducks on Sesame Street. I remember there being dancing ducks on one of the two. Maybe we just haven't gotten to that yet. Like, cart before the horse kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. We get one that I know you enjoy sometimes. We just find it funny. Wayne and Wanda.
Mm-hmm. This always introduced by Sam, too.
Because he thinks they're wholesome and he loves them.
Mm-hmm.
And he thinks it's great. And they perform Trees.
Yeah, it doesn't end well for Wayne.
It does not. So apparently this Trees is a popular poem that's been set to music. It was used twice. So we will see this song again being performed by a different Muppet a few seasons later. So thing to note there. But what's funny is it's part of the UK spot a few seasons later. I don't know why they would reuse it, but hey, okay. I guess we'll see when we get there. The tree falls on Wayne, ending that, as Sam says, wholesome performance.
Yeah, it wasn't very long. It was only up there for like 30 seconds, barely.
It was filler, but it was funny, and we enjoy Wayne and Wanda because Sam, honestly. Mm-hmm. Fozzie is now begging to have his act put back on the show, insisting that it be in this type of show. People expect a stand-up comic. And Kermit says, well, I'm sorry, but we have Bruce. Poor Fozzie.
Yeah, and Bruce goes out there, and he basically does the opposite of Fozzie and really gives it to Statler and Waldorf here.
Yeah, he just buries the insults, basically.
Even Statler even says he's burying me here.
Mm-hmm. And Fozzie actually kind of comes in to ask advice. He's like, wait, how to handle the hecklers. And Bruce tells him that he needs to just have a bit of pacing, timing, and the right retort. And Fozzie's first attempt at this is, do you mind? We work alone, unless we work together. It's not the best, but Bruce has Fozzie go for the jugular, as he says. And he does just that. And he gets a little bit carried away at first, but he succeeds, doesn't he? Yeah. And he kind of gets Statler and Waldorf to surrender.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, I never thought we'd see the day that would happen, but maybe all Fozzie needed was some courage and the right push, right? So
Yeah. The only time you see that.
Mm-hmm. So Fozzie and Bruce actually end up singing a song together called Side by Side.
Which, yeah, it's a fun little number that they do here. I mean, anything Fozzie, is what I love.
I love him. He's not my favorite. We've talked about this a few times about like ranking, like who's our favorite, and I still just don't know if I'm there yet and if I can do it. But he's up there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
This is another song though that coincidentally will be reused again.
Maybe licensing issues
multiple times. Mm-hmm. So I do think it's interesting that they find ways to reuse things. Disney is very big on that too. We talk about that in our Disney podcasts, reusing certain scenes or something where you kind of transpose and it's a different character. It's really neat.
Yeah, they actually, and it's funny is that they actually wave a white flag in this, and they actually do that. And I know I talk about a lot. Muppet Vision, they wave a white flag more for comedic purposes because a hole was blown in the theater by a Swedish chef. So
yeah,
we surrender. So they've been known to throw the towel in to protect themselves.
So my very favorite, this was my favorite as a kid when I did watch the Muppet Show, recurring skit is finally here. It's a veterinarian's hospital.
The continuing story of a quack who's gone to the dogs.
Our patient is Duck, but Dr. Bob keeps confusing it with a chicken. There you go. The duck constantly yells duck. So the duck keeps constantly yelling duck when someone says he's a chicken, but the doctors take that as sign as something's about to fall. So they keep ducking. But finally something does fall down, which is a lamp that lands on Dr. Bob's head.
They haven't started the tune in next week gag yet though, right?
They have not. I don't believe so.
I love that one.
Oh my God. Veterinarian's Hospital is truly one of my favorite skits of all of the reoccurring skits on the Muppet Show. I told you I'd tell you when we got there, and I can't remember if in the prior ones we had any veterinarian hospital. But Pigs in Space is up there too. We briefly mentioned that. Pigs in Space
we haven't gotten that yet, I don't think. So.
But Veterinarian's Hospital is that. That's it for me. So then we get Bruce and Miss Piggy singing a nice little song together, Just Let There Be Love.
Yeah, it's actually nothing really here. I mean, it's a nice song. That's it. It's not.
Which this happens a lot towards the end of our episodes with our special guests. There's usually a song performed by them or with them. There's a couple others that we've talked about. Florence Henderson had one that we really liked a couple episodes ago. Yeah, so this is pretty common where we're getting towards the end now. So the guest and the Muppets, or just the guest by themselves, sing a very beautiful little song.
Yep.
So
this was a fun episode, I think.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't a favorite. Veterinarian's Hospital did it for me, and I love the dance when they go to the dance. Bruce Forsyth, I vaguely knew him. But I didn't love this episode. I liked it. Yeah. It was good. It was consistent. It was good. Bruce closes it out, letting Kermit know that he's a terrific MC. And Fozzie, continuing with his insults, says that Kermit is more like an MC squared. Which I did find funny. Bruce suggests that Fozzie take on a little humility, and particularly if he wants to kind of keep working next week. You got to stop somewhere, bud. So as you said, overall, this was not favorite. We haven't really ranked any of these, but this is not a favorite episode. It's a fun episode. It's consistent with keeping on par of what we expect from our Muppets, and it gives us some really good segments, but not my favorite.
Yeah. No, it's not sometimes it for me who watched these as a kid, nothing rang a bell. Sometimes there'll be some episodes for sure the Liza Minnelli episode, the Mark Hamill episode. There are little things, and sometimes will pop up and all of a sudden will spark my memory from little 7-year-old Andy, but also the first season is kind of a little blind because I really, it's kind of like new to me, a lot of this stuff, because I don't remember much about it. Maybe when I watched them over more later, I would probably think.
There's a few there. Yeah, we've talked about this before. There's a few of them that when we get to certain segments, I'm like, oh, I do remember this, or I don't remember this. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, that was episode 13, if you're following along. So Andy, you ready to kind of just roll on into 14?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So episode 14 was Fozzie performs Gags, Beasley's famous banana sketch, which everyone has heard of except Kermit. And then Kermit asks our special guest Sandy and Fozzie to tell him what it is. They laugh way too hard trying to explain. So our special guest this week, she actually is still alive. Her name is Sandy Duncan. I kind of knew her. Face was very familiar. Couldn't really place it until I looked it up. Did you know her?
Yes. I'm very, very familiar with Sandy Duncan. As a lot of people probably know her from taking over the Hogan family from Valerie Harper. Mm-hmm. I actually saw her on Broadway. She played Peter Pan.
Peter Pan, yes.
Around this time, I was young, so I probably was around somewhere somewhere between 1978 and 1981 or so, I would think. So it was around this time. But yeah, she was very. She was known as she was a dancer, singer, performer. She was like a variety kind of star kind of thing. Yeah. Very, very well known, very pretty, funny lady. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she is still with us. She was born February 20th, 1946 in Texas, grew up and born in Texas, Sandra K. Duncan. And as Andy said, she is considered an American actress, comedian, dancer, and singer, most known for performances in Broadway revival of Peter Pan and the sitcom The Hogan Family. She has been nominated for 3 Tony Awards, 2 Emmy Awards, and 2 Golden Globes.
Maybe kind of like an earlier version of Kristen Chenoweth kind of thing.
I would agree with that. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, she was like the Kristen Chenoweth of the late 70s and early 80s, I think.
Okay. That would totally make sense. So as always, we open our Muppet Show with Gonzo doing something. This time he accidentally drops his mallet, and so he hits the gong with his head. Yes. He's like, got to get this done somehow. So that's how I'm going to do it. Kermit announces that the show will be a real bang-up affair. Of course, that brings out Crazy Harry, and he thinks that's his cue to, blast Kermit off the stage, sending him flying into Statler and Waldorf's box.
Yes, underrated Muppet, Crazy Harry, who is one of the Muppets I do have a figure of. Very.
He is very underrated because he shows up very sporadically, but when he does, you can bet there's going to be a boom.
He does it with a bang?
He does it with a bang. Exactly. Does it with a bang. Kermit announces that the opening number was staged by Scooter, so it could be a bomb. So guess what happens?
Yep.
You guessed it. Crazy Harry blows up Kermit again, leaving Fozzie to end up introducing the number, which is Sandy Duncan performing A Nice Girl Like Me, singing and dancing in a bar with several different monsters.
Yep. Sweetums among them. So
yes.
I'm okay with these other human-sized Muppets because they do appear in the intro later on. But the other one that we get sitting at the table, I'm.
You're not here.
I'm not here. Because when they look like a monster, I'm good. But when they try to be like a human Muppet, kind of a,
Human Muppets are strange. Yes, I'll give you that. So a nice little number. We basically have one of these. We talked about it in the last, when we were talking about Bruce there, you usually have one in the ending. Sometimes you have one in the beginning where the performer does a little song and a ditty with the other Muppets. Very well done. I thought it was cute. So.
Yeah, she does. She's playing to her strengths where she's singing and dancing along.
She's a Broadway star. That's what they do best.
Yeah, looking cute and somewhat sexy while she's doing it. So there you go.
So backstage, as always, Fozzie is begging Kermit to lend him $5 to pay his writer, the legendary Gags Beasley. And Kermit won't lend him the money, but assumes Gags must come pretty cheap. If he only needs $5. And Fozzie explains their deal. Gags gets paid by the laugh. And Kermit quips, then he owes you some money.
Yes, very much.
I liked this one. Kermit is so funny, but he's like underratedly funny because he's sarcastic funny. He just like
he's a bit more harsh in
yes.
than I remember in this early so far. I think maybe he lightens up a little bit.
I think so too.
When he's getting a little something from Piggy, maybe, I don't know, but
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, he does seem a little more like the little meanness in his quips to Fozzie.
Which we do see him dealing with a lot. Like he's dealing with like he is the one that has to manage and find out like where's the money coming from, how are they going to pay all of this, how are they going to do all this. We saw that in a very early episode early on when Scooter's uncle is going to like just let the whole place go. So maybe that's his problem. Like maybe he's just really uptight about all this.
Maybe.
Who knows? Our next act is one that you and I do both enjoy, but he has weird hands.
Yes.
Today he's preparing donuts with a pistol.
Mm-hmm.
Because
how else do you make donuts?
As one would do. I mean, right? As one should.
And then throws a pancake in the air, shoots a hole in it, and now it's a donut.
Oh my gosh. So I grew up in a gun-wielding family, and my aunt owned a bakery, and I worked in that bakery for many years, but never made them like that before. I'll have to message her and tell her I found her a new way to make donuts. Oh God, which I'm sure she's seen this based on her, her age. I'm not calling her old, but like she would have definitely seen this. Glad my aunt decided not to prepare donuts with a pistol. But, so we get some Fozzie monologues going here with his banana sketch that we previously mentioned, which we don't hear. He starts to perform the banana sketch, but we don't actually hear the banana sketch.
Yeah, the two bananas walking down the street. One banana says, and then we cut away to Hilda.
Hilda's a strange cat, isn't she? Hilda is watching Fozzie from backstage and is excited to see that he's actually getting laughs from the audience. Kermit mentions that Fozzie has a new writer named Gags Beasley, and Scooter overhears and exclaims, "Not the legendary Gags Beasley!" Apparently, Kermit appears to be the only one who has not heard of him when Hilda describes him as the Mozart of comedy and writer of the famous banana sketch. Kermit, again, has not heard of this.
I wrote in my notes, too. What's the banana sketch?
I did, too. I was like, banana sketch? ? Like, I'm glad I wasn't alone on that. So we're with Kermit. We're like, what? Hilda can't control her laughter long enough to even try to explain the banana sketch to him. So I feel like this is one of those inside jokes where like you and I have an inside joke and somebody will be like, well, what about the such and such? And you and I just laugh and they're like, okay, I clearly wouldn't get it. And we're like, no, you wouldn't get it. That's what it seems like to me. Is like when two friends have an inside joke, another one walks in and is like, so what about it? And you're like, well, you wouldn't get it. Like, I think I think the banana joke is just something that like we're just not gonna get.
Yeah, even Gonzo knows what it is.
Yeah, Gonzo, like Fozzie returns backstage. Kermit tries to ask him about the banana sketch, but Fozzie's like too busy spreading it around that Kermit hasn't heard of it because Frog turns to the audience believing that someone is basically pulling his leg. Like this is a joke. Like this is a joke. The banana sketch isn't a joke. This is a joke. Great Gonzo comes out and is like also mocking him. He's like, what do you mean you never heard of the banana sketch? Like, come on now. Andy and I are with you, Kermit. We don't know. We don't know.
Nope.
No. So we go back to
like I don't know who that duck is. I don't know the banana sketch. So
we don't know who the duck is. Still don't know.
So there are lingering questions we need to get answered by the time we end this run on this.
I don't know who this duck is and what is the banana sketch.
So add that to your tally. That's our new game is like
new game.
What
is this?
Yeah, we don't know what this is, and we have to wait and see if it ever gets paid off, or we ever find out.
We're at 2. So the duck, because the duck was from just a moment ago on the previous episode, and that was not cleared up. Other than the duck kept yelling duck because it's not a chicken.
Burning questions, unanswered.
Burning questions. If you've ever listened to any amount of Andy's podcast, we end up with some burning questions.
Yes, it's going to be up there like, what the fuck was the polar bear doing on Lost? Although they did explain that later on.
They did explain that later, yeah. We go back to the dance, which is a confusing sketch sometimes because sometimes it's just so silly. Like it's just silly. But more, do what?
It was different music.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. We usually get the same little. You hummed it out for us one time before. I'm bad at it. But it was different.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of the jokes this time revolve around various world locations. They talk about the changing of the guard in London.
Yeah, were they dirty?
Were they dirty? I don't know. A pig tells her partner that she was born in Paris. The usual way. And Rolf talks about his cousin who lives in the desert and runs very fast because of the distance between trees.
Yep.
And it says also unusual music is played to a tango beat. Another question. Why did you change the music to a tango?
I don't
know. Inner Beauty is our next little sketch. This is Sweetums, and he's depressed, which I love Sweetums, so I'm sad that he's sad. He's a huge, he's huge and scary, and he's kind of scary, and I guess could be perceived as ugly. I think it's adorable. But Sandy enters the park. Our special guest, Miss Sandy Duncan, enters the park where he's sitting, and he shows her how dogs bite him and flowers wilt in his presence. I do remember this skit. I remember this like upsetting me as a kid. I was like, this is so sad. Sandy's undeterred and inspires Sweetums to look past outer ugliness and appreciate the beauty within. He's enthralled by this, and he greets Muppy.
That's right, I forgot Muppy.
Muppy, who licks him, and then a wilted flower, which perks right up. And full of self-satisfaction, Sandy continues walking and notices Behemoth also looking sad, and she starts her outer ugliness speech again. But Behemoth is offended and slams a pie into her face. I guess Behemoth
I knew that name of that Muppet was Behemoth. That's a
Behemoth. Yeah.
Interesting. He's not that big to be a Behemoth.
No, and he kind of looks like Oscar the Grouch.
A little bit. Slams her right in the face.
Yeah, because I guess Behemoth was like, I don't have a problem with, I'm not depressed. I don't think I'm ugly. What is wrong with you?
She smacks him back, though.
Yeah, she does. She does. It's very cute. So then we get our UK spot. But this time it's Gonzo, who is accompanied by Rolf, the dog, who I love. I don't think you love him as much. You like Rolf.
I like Rolf. I don't love Rolf.
I love him. I don't know why. And they sing the song Nobody. What do you think about this one?
It's cute because it's Gonzo.
It is. That is true. Gonzo, you will see, is Andy and I have him pretty high up there on our list of Muppets. He's
different Gonzo. He's a little more the cute, kind of like a lot more timid, and he's not really he's not Gonzo the Great yet.
Yeah.
Like he's just Gonzo right now. And you could definitely, you see like in his expression and everything, he's a little sadder, but he does definitely, come out of his shell a little bit more and becomes more pertinent as we go on.
Mm-hmm. So this is not Ralph's first performance of this song either. He actually performed it on the Jimmy Dean Show, which was his very first appearance, Ralph's very first appearance in 1963 on the Jimmy Dean Show. I try to include sprinkled little facts. Sometimes I'm not great at it.
Fun facts with Miranda.
Fun facts with Miranda.
The other guy who said sausage you buy, he used to have a show.
Yes, he did. So Mary Louise, who I am almost very certain Mary Louise shows up in Sesame Street later. And I know somebody's going to be like, that's Prairie Dawn. I'm aware of who Prairie Dawn is. But I'm pretty sure Mary Louise has shown up in Sesame Street before. But she rides the swamp singing Never Smile at a Crocodile as frogs are eaten by her crocodile.
A little overly violent here for a kid show.
So funny.
Yeah,
These
she does.
She
I could see where people may confuse her with Prairie Dawn, but she's not Prairie Dawn.
No, she's not Prairie Dawn, and I know she's not Prairie Dawn, but I truly feel like at some point she was on Sesame Street as well, which, I mean, they're same creators. That does happen sometimes. What's funny is Mary Never Smile at a Crocodile was actually sung by Mary Louise while she's riding the swamp, right? The tune of this song comes from Disney's version of Peter Pan, which with lyrics that were added later in a subsequent record release. The musical number was the longest shoot of any scene on the Muppet Show.
Wow.
And yeah, for some reason, according to a 1978 Muppet Show fan club, this was the longest shoot of any scene. I wonder why. You wouldn't think so. It's not a super long skit.
I mean, literally, it's just a crocodile going around in a circle with frogs.
Yeah. I don't know. I wish I could find more information on why. It doesn't say why. It just says that it is. So.
But they're still alive because they come out and they sing in his mouth.
Yeah, they come out and sing. His mouth opens up and they're like, wah, wah, wah. I don't know. I don't get it. It's still, it's hysterical. It's hysterical. So at our talk spot, Sandy and Fozzie can't believe that Kermit, we're back to this. And Sandy and Fozzie might as well cannot believe that Andy and Miranda don't know what the banana sketch is. And Sandy tries to explain it. She and Fozzie just can't. Again, like Hilda earlier, they cannot stop laughing long enough to even describe what the banana sketch is. I'm telling you, this is an inside joke. This has to be an inside joke. I'm just saying. Muppet Newsflash, the newsman.
Mm-hmm.
I love this one. I love this
Muppet
one.
Newsflash.
You're so good at it.
He's kind of one of the nerdier characters.
He is. He's great. This time he's interviewing Miss Billy Lee Bonkers of Texas about setting the world jumping in place record.
That's right, yes.
Give me the line, Andy. What does he say?
Oh, God. You know what I mean?
How does she do it? How does she do it, is what he says.
Okay. How does she do it? Just how does she do it? Is that how
Standing on
say
a hot
plate. Oh. Pull back the curtain, folks. This episode we prepped for like 5 months ago, so I have it playing out right now. I'm trying to wait. Those were. I'm not. That's why Miranda sits in that seat over there. Or if you're watching us, Miranda is sitting in the host chair. That's why I sit here.
I actually
just to look pretty on the podcast.
I actually have a whole type out of the episodes and breakdown. I actually do put work into something, guys. I do. I have a whole breakdown. So Miss Piggy learns that Kermit has also never heard of the banana sketch, and she's devastated. Sorry, guys. She's devastated. And Kermit calmly states, I don't know if this is calm, there is no banana sketch, there's never a banana sketch, and there never will be a banana sketch. Kermit is quite adamant, right?
Yes.
Kermit is then has someone come up to him. It's Banana. Wants to know which way to my dressing room. And don't try to shove me into the refrigerator. At this point, Kermit breaks down into tears. I truly feel like, we were talking about Kermit and how he's way more brash. I think it's because of this shit right here.
Yeah, I mean, you put up with this and deal with this every day and see how you feel. Right, how sane you remain.
I would lose it.
And now the continuing story of a quack who's gone to the dogs.
That's right. Veterinarian's hospital. Dr. Bob has only just completed his first transplant, and he's already hoping for a second chance. And then he remembers that he's lost his watch and the patient.
Yes.
I love this when Dr. Bob is actually like laying with his ear on the patient, trying to hear his watch. Oh God, I love this.
And I love when the narrator starts talking. So Dr. Bob has someone is watching the test. Tune in next week, and they all look up and they're like, "Where is that voice coming?"
Yeah, they all like, yes. I'm glad that it happened because you asked me, have they done Tune In next week? And I didn't think they did last episode, but they do on this one. And that's the funniest part about this sketch is that the guy's like, tune in next week. And they all start like looking up at the ceiling and looking their head around and looking at each other like, what in the...
You hear that too, right? I'm not going crazy.
I'm not going crazy, right? We're closing out our episode here with Sandy. She's been a great part of the show, I feel like. Yeah. And I feel like at the time she was probably very well perceived on this episode. I don't know. I haven't found anything to back that up or deny that, but I feel like because of who she is and the time frame that she would have been greatly perceived on this one.
She was like an America's sweetheart type.
She was
perception,
and she was very in style for the time. She has that short little Twiggy haircut. She's kind of got the same little build. She's kind of got the same build as Twiggy. I think she played Peter Pan, so she's very like athletic arms. She's a very pretty woman. I want to say young woman because I don't know how old she was here, but she looks very young, very sweet, and I think she was a good fit to the episode. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked Bruce Forsyth enough, but I think she is great.
When we saw her on Broadway, we had really good seats, actually. I think we might have front row. And I do remember her, like, waving. Like, I was clapping, and I think she waved to me because maybe I was, like, one of the few little kids, like, or in the front.
Row. Yeah,
and you know who played Captain Hook in that show was Christopher Hewitt, better known as Mr. Belvedere.
Yeah. It's amazing. That's a core memory unlocked, as TikTok is saying at the moment. That's the current trend. It's like,
oh, okay, we're down with that.
Talking about your core memories, like, boom. There you go. That's a good one. She comes out, and we're going to round out our show, and she sings Try to Remember to Kermit in a Peaceful Setting. Slowly, a whole group of Muppets kind of arrive to listen. And we've seen this before with people that have like the same demeanor as her as an actor and stuff. I think we had this with Florence Henderson. And I keep referencing her because she was one of my favorites because it was another person that obviously I clearly knew.
Sisters also, Florence Henderson and Andy Duncan at this time. They had similar haircuts, similar.
Yeah, they did. But they were. Lena Horne may have also had a similar.
Yes.
Where
Lena
like
Horne.
they were just very calming to the Muppets and just very like I could see some of their songs being turned into like little lullabies and stuff. Yep. She's joined by a chorus of Muppets, which I think is fantastic. There's a mix of Scooter, we get the janitor, Gonzo. I looked up who they were, so they're called Blue Frackle and Green Frackle, Baskerville the Hound, Muppy, Wayne, Nigel, and two male whatnots, which we've talked about whatnots before. They were literally like they would just grab different Muppet pieces and just make something, essentially, like whatnot, why not kind of thing. So it brings us to our close. So she's calmed down Kermit. Kermit's kind of lost his crap. She's calmed him down, and we're at the closing. And Kermit tells Sandy that on some shows, guests are presented with dozen roses at the end, and instead he has Fozzie bring her a bushel of bananas. And Fozzie tells her it was Kermit's idea, not his. Sandy is actually very touched and says, yeah, well, I hope that's the last I ever hear of the banana sketch.
Yes, I think she's legitimately cracking up at this too.
I think she is too. I think this is like one of those moments where like there was nothing, like she didn't know this. She probably didn't know this part was happening. I'm sure there's certain things they don't tell the guest stars, and she's like dying. And I think it's like legitimate. Like I think it's genuine. Kermit does not die laughing though, and he snaps again. So overall, I enjoyed Sandy Duncan as a guest, and I enjoyed this episode. I thought it had some cute moments. I still don't know what the banana sketch is. Guess I will never know. But it was funny. It was funny.
It was a funny running gag.
It was.
That everybody was in on a joke but Kermit, really.
Yeah.
So that's what made it fun.
And the audience, because we still don't know what the banana sketch is either.
I don't know. Show me
I don't know either.
Yeah, and I'm not keen to learn because I am allergic to bananas. So,
banana. We've talked about this before on another podcast. I don't know how many years ago. Andy's allergic to bananas, and bananas are actually my favorite because I forget which podcast it was on, but we were talking about things in the South, and it was a whole bless your heart banana pudding thing. And I said how banana pudding was my favorite, and you were like, ugh, it'll kill me.
I don't know if it will kill me necessarily, but like even the smell of bananas makes me nauseous. So. I mean, we all have our quirks. I have a lot of quirks.
We should just not try though, like, you know.
I could probably tolerate a banana over more than I could cilantro. I'll put it that way. I'm one of those.
Soap to you?
Yes, I am one of those people.
So weird. So my 23andMe, I'm in like a group where they actually tell you like I give them permission where they're like, fill out this questionnaire. Like I got into 23andMe for free via my neurologist because they wanted to do studies. And like people are going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that, Miranda. You gave them your DNA. I'm fully aware of what I did. Thank you. Okay. So yeah, like I don't have a problem, but I did it to get in a study, and they actually have one now. Like one of the new things that they can do is they can tell you your likelihood to think cilantro tastes like soap. And it was like on your percentage of a chance of if you're one of those people, like they can tell based on your DNA markers if you're one of those people that feels like cilantro tastes like. I think that's fascinating. Mine actually came back. They were like, you probably don't think cilantro tastes like soap. And I'm like, and you're right, I do not.
It's like 10% of people, I think.
Yeah, but I think it's really funny that's yeah.
If it's in something like if it's a little bit, I can maybe power through it. But yeah, if it's in there, and it's so funny. It's like Ellen's like, oh, I love cilantro. It tastes like parsley. I'm like, nope. And sometimes we go out for Mexican food, and it was like we were at this taco place, and we're like, she's like, all right, so it says there's cilantro. Please hold the cilantro, or I'm going to hear about it for the rest of the night if there's cilantro in there, because somebody's going to be a real pain in the ass about it.
So, like, can you taste it in like salt? Like fresh salsa usually always has cilantro in it.
Yep.
Can you taste it?
Yeah, I also don't like raw tomatoes. I also don't like raw tomatoes. So,
oh really?
But like if there's like cilantro like in something, so it's like sometimes you'll get a dish like at a Mexican restaurant, and they'll sprinkle cilantro on it, and it's like, oh
my God, no, I love it.
One of the worst things ever was we used to get takeout from a place when I used to work at night, and I ordered steak quesadillas, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, what?
And they sprinkle it on the top, yeah.
No, it was inside.
Oh.
It was like to try to pick cilantro out of melted cheese. It was I gave up and gave it to somebody. I'm like,
you can't do that.
That's like the vending machine to get chips for dinner.
I really don't like mayonnaise. I know people give me shit.
Oh, just like going.
I can mix it into things, like small amounts of it, but like whereas like if somebody's making tuna fish and they would usually put like a big glob of it, I do like half that. Like I can't.
I like it too, but people use it now for to make grilled cheeses because they said it comes out better than butter.
I know, and I've seen it, and people have made them for me, and I've tasted and seen it. I can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I hate mayonnaise. And that's like when I go somewhere and I get a sandwich, I'm like you. So I'll give you the cilantro thing because when we go somewhere and we get a sandwich, if I say no mayonnaise, which Slovakia, they put mayonnaise on like every freaking sandwich they have. And like I learned how to say no mayo in Slovak, and still people would like sometimes not hear me, or like the menu wouldn't say anything about having mayonnaise on it. So I wouldn't ask for any not on it because it wouldn't have it on there. And it would come out just smothered in it. And it's the same thing. Like everybody's like, oh, wipe it off. Well, you can't. It's on the lettuce. It's on the tomato. It's in there. It's in the crevices now, and I just can't do it. I can't do it.
See, I grew up eating like for like a snack, taking like a slice of turkey and spreading a little bit of mayo on it and then rolling it up and eating it like that.
So apparently when I was really little, I used to eat tomato, cheese, and mayonnaise sandwiches. But I have gastrointestinal issues. So I went for like a whole period of my life where my food just decided not to go up or down correctly. I know that sounds disgusting, and people are like, oh, Miranda, oh. So that's the first time that I got turned off of mayo, is when I was getting sick repetitively. Doesn't work. And then again, when I was in, I believe it was third grade, we had assigned seating at lunch. And I think I've told this story on air before, but real quick, we had assigned seating at lunch. The girl that sat in front of me was a very good friend of mine. We're in third grade. A lot of people still don't know how to chew with their mouth closed in third grade. And we're adults, and I still have to look at people and be like, chew with your mouth closed. Anyway, she did not know how to chew with her mouth closed, and her favorite thing in the world that she brought every single day was ham, cheese, and tomato sandwiches.
Oof.
So I can't because then there's a smell that goes with it, and I can't do it. I can't do it. Like even the texture of it, I'm like if I have to put it in foods, I'm like, okay, get it together, Miranda.
And this episode of the Most Sensational, Inspirational, Celebrational Muppetational Podcast has been sponsored by Food Aversions.
Food Aversions. You said yours, and I wanted to let you know that you're not alone, even though I think cilantro tastes great. So
yes, I'm not alone in my we're different degrees of weirdness with our.
Andy may decide to cut that out, but if he doesn't, you're welcome.
No, I am not cutting that out.
All right, so that was our break. We're going to go on to episode
we're supposed to stop recording. Okay.
Yeah. So brought to you by Miranda's and Andy's Food Aversions. After Dark. No. Okay, so thank you for sponsoring us, Food Aversions. We love you. You've been with us our whole lives. You are phenomenal. And so I want to start talking about episode 15 of season 1 of The Muppet Show. And I knew this one. I love this special guest. Love her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on this episode, it's listed as 115 because it's episode 1, or season 1, episode 15. Fozzie brings a series of deliveries to Kermit, pestering the frog with some lousy gags is our overall arc. And we have our beautiful special guest, Candice Bergen. And I know you know who she was.
I know.
Okay. She is still with us, thankfully. She is 75 right now. She was born May 9th, 1946. If you do not know who she is, look her up. As soon as you see her face, you're going to be like, I'm that lady.
She's Murphy Brown.
She was Murphy Brown, but some people might be like, oh, she, she's another one that you know her face.
She's from Miss Congeniality.
Sweet Home Alabama, Brad Ward's. I think she did appear in a few episodes of Sex and the City. She's done voices for tons of things. She's won several awards. She is fantastic. So I was very excited to see that she was in this episode. I did not remember this one, but I love her. So we start out with Gonzo's theme. Our Muppet Show theme is Gonzo sporting a boxing glove. This time he punches the O, and it sounds like a ringside bell, indicating the start of a match. So Gonzo is ready to fight. That Gonzo is something else.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. This one.
Yes. By the way, I made a notation going into the next one. I was like, Piggy. So Piggy she doesn't look like modern day Piggy. And it's still, I know that we're this far into the season. It still throws me off when she shows up. She's got a different look. It's something to do with her jaw.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about this.
And her eyes too, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. It throws me off. So when Kermit refers to our guest, Candice Bergen, as a well-rounded person during his introduction, Statler and Waldorf respond with catcalls and what Kermit calls male chauvinist pig jokes. So Miss Piggy arrives to protest any kind of pig joke. Piggy then notes, however, how whenever a beautiful woman comes on the show, Kermit tends to forget about her. This time, however, Piggy stands up for herself and states that she and Candice Bergen will walk if she is not allowed to open the show. So that's what happens. Miss Piggy sings, "Now What, My Love?" and she's backed by 3 whatnots who gradually turn into monsters. Yeah. So those whatnots are going to appear a lot because, like I said,
Yes.
those guys, they just get thrown together. What did you think about these guys?
I thought they were funny. They're a little weird, but no more weird than other Muppets we've seen here. So
I just don't understand the trends. They've had them do this before, where the wetness transform into something else.
Monkeys.
Why?
They're like different color monkeys.
Yeah, like I don't. So this is even though Miss Piggy has had 2 solos in the Muppet Show, this was her first major singing performance. So that's pretty cool. Piggy finally gets her turn, I guess, because she's been really frustrated when there's been pretty ladies on the show so far. Like I think she tried to fight one, did she not?
She gets threatened. She has jealousy.
She's got major jealousy issues. Kermit is brash and she's jealous. That's a great combination there, folks. So backstage, Fozzie, it seems to be a reoccurring theme the last couple of episodes where Fozzie is the backstage running gag that is going on with Kermit. He enters and he calls out, "Wire for Kermit the Frog, wire for Kermit the Frog." And then Kermit is puzzled. When he becomes puzzled, he says that he is Kermit the Frog, and Fozzie hangs a coat wire around his face. Yes. I hate wire hangers. I hate wire hangers. It is funny, but like Andy's like, I'm not laughing, Miranda's not funny. Okay, it was funny. It was funny enough.
Yes,
it was funny enough. I just really hate wire hangers. Like
no wire hangers.
Exactly. That is why I don't like them. Somebody's gonna be like, did someone beat Miranda with a wire hanger? No. It has everything to do with one specific movie. I also think they suck in general. Your clothes fall off of them. But apparently you can hang them around Kermit's face. I should not give your children any ideas.
No. Don't do that.
So we then get the hillbilly singer, which sings "Put Another Log on the Fire," while Candice tries to do all of the chores. Yeah.
I did not like this sketch.
No, because you hate that kind of Muppet.
This Muppet. Yeah, I did not like this Muppet at all.
Well, he's crappy. I mean, yes. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna.
And the legs, everything, and just.
Yeah, the legs were strange. So strange. Mm-hmm. Good thing at the end of the song she rebels and leaves him wearing a very feminist T-shirt. Like she changes her clothes and she's now wearing like an extremely.
Well, she's a big time feminist herself.
Oh, she is. Yes, absolutely. No, if you go to her wiki page and read about her, it tells you all of the work she's done for in the field of feminism. So. Yeah, absolutely. She always has been. So I think it's funny. And that's probably why they chose to do this sketch was because of her work in
Yeah.
So
totally does not look happy with anything she had to do in this thing.
Oh, I mean, would anybody? Like, come on. Like, no. So it's funny in a that's not funny way. Like in a like that really sucks. But it's funny. And I'm with Andy. This Muppet is just kind of creepy. I'm not usually bothered by them, but this one was weird. And maybe that's to add to the. I don't know. Maybe they did that on purpose. Maybe. She does dump a plate of food on him too. That's.
With a shotgun and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So poor Fozzie's back again, and he's calling out, "Letter for Kermit the Frog. Letter for Kermit the Frog." He presents Kermit with the letter R. It's literally a letter R.
Oh, that's right.
Kermit, who says he can appreciate a good joke when he sees one, tries to pull this on Scooter, and the joke backfires, and Scooter has no time to read the letter. Poor. See, this is why Kermit is disgruntled, guys. This is why he screams things like, "There will never be a banana sketch." Because he's just done.
Yes. His patient wear is very thin.
It does. So we go back to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
So did you notice something? Did you notice this music again?
Yeah, the music was different again from the last episode.
Yeah, it's a tango again. It's a tango version of our music. This one is at the dance. Droop tells his dance partner that he has he was the teacher's pet in school, and his partner asks if the teacher couldn't afford a dog. Which I thought was kind of funny. The then offended Droop reacts by slapping the girl's face with his nose. It is a droopy nose. And we get George the janitor, which we do like, and he pops the question, or rather the question mark headed dancer near him. Oh, some of these are just silly. The dance, would you agree that at the dance is usually just really silly?
It is, because they're all like almost like dad jokes.
They are, and that's the problem is I love dad jokes. Oh my God.
Well, and also you gotta remember who the target audience is too. So
you're wanting to appeal to adults and children at this time. So like you're cracking dad jokes, which probably middle-aged dads would find hysterical, and kids would like, that was funny because like Droop actually smacking her in the face with his nose is funny to kids. But the line about what your teacher couldn't afford a dog, like the adults would get the line. So I think you're trying to appeal to the masses, probably. Maybe, especially the time slot it came on, because it was considered prime time, was it not? We talked about this like in the very beginning. I can't remember. Okay. Does travel broaden the mind? This is a panel, which we haven't had one of these in a while. I usually enjoy these. Kermit's panel includes travel guide author, Miss Clara Cartwell, who's obviously our special guest, Candice Bergen, who honestly, other than her song, hasn't done much yet in this episode. Miss Piggy, Sam the Eagle, which is always a good time when Sam the Eagle is on the panel, and Mildred Huckstetter.
Yep, good old Mildred, who we see at the dance all the time. Yes.
Mildred and Miss Piggy fight throughout the panel. And Sam and Clara discuss Marcello, which Sam assumes is an Italian soup. Good old very American. Yes. Good old American Sam there, not understanding anything in Italian. I would probably butcher. It's actually Marcello Mastroianni. I don't know. Mastriani, my neighbor's Italian, so she would probably be like, that is not even how you say that.
Miranda, you couldn't be more of a southern stereotype right now. I go out for that Italian food there.
No. You know what I hate? I hate Olive Garden. Brought to you by Food Aversions. I really do. I hate
it's gross.
Oh my God, it's so gross. Except for the breadsticks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. I have a cousin of mine who's Italian. I'm not Italian. He's Italian. Well, he's half Italian. And he would post from Olive Garden. I'm like, isn't that being Italian? Right. You're not allowed to go there. Anyway, talking about food.
That's like I'm Irish, and if I were to be like, I hate potatoes, people would be like, right? And I don't hate potatoes. I love potatoes with every fiber of my being. But I feel like that would be the same. Like he should not. An Italian person saying Olive Garden is their favorite. Oh boy, your grandma probably rolling in her grave.
Well, I'm Russian. And what do you get when you
like the vodka?
Russian dressing? You get Rudolph Nureyev putting on his tights.
Do you like the vodka?
I love vodka, actually.
See, you do that. And I like a Jameson Irish whiskey and potatoes. So at the end of the day, we are what we are. But yes, I am very southern, and so trying to say Italian words doesn't always work out for me. I thought this little sketch, this little panel, I usually love the panels. I thought it was funny, but not the best panel.
Yeah.
The greatest.
Sam usually gets mad, and Piggy kind of beats the shit out of Mildred.
Piggy ends up in a fight with somebody every time she's on this panel.
Yeah.
Like she legitimately fights with everybody anytime she's on this panel. It's so funny. We get our UK spot next, which is Ralph the dog, and he sings "It's Not Where You Start." And just as he's about to go through the song, Scooter actually informs him that he sang it too fast. And he has to play it again, except for this time he now only has 1 minute. And then Scooter's uncle has asked to hear it again, but this time Ralph only has 20 seconds. So he sang it too fast the first time. So they wanted to do it again, but only in 1 minute. But Scooter's uncle really liked it. He wants to hear it again, but you only got 20 seconds. Poor Ralph.
Ralph.
It was a fun enough song, though.
Yeah, it was.
It was fun. Scooter's a little annoying. I feel like Scooter's little brother. Everybody's like, shut up. I wrote that. Scooter is annoying. I like Scooter. In this first season here, he's presented as very, like, annoying.
Yes.
Like, he's always coming in at the most inopportune times. He's always being like, no, you need to do it this way. Remember who my uncle is.
Yeah. He's kind of also like we talked about early version of Gonzo not being Gonzo. This is like Scooter was not as likable, I think.
No, I don't think he was totally fleshed out yet, to be honest. Yeah. And maybe that's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
This talk spot I thought was kind of funny. Well, I thought parts of it were really funny. Candice is back, which we've talked about this before, and I don't know why this happens, but have you ever noticed she's one of them? She's not in this episode as much as, prior. Sandy Duncan was very much a part of the episode. She was there pretty much almost for every skit. I'd have to go back and count and see, but, Candice is so far, this is only her third time showing up.
Yeah.
Which is not normal.
She doesn't seem to have the sense of humor or... He'll kind of be like...
She has a very sarcastic, dry, brash, like we've been calling Kermit, sense of humor. She's very to the point. And I wonder if maybe for her, she was like, well, I only agree to this much time. Or, that has to be what it is. They are, at the end of the day, special guest actors, and maybe they just didn't agree to as much as the others. I don't know.
Could be, yeah.
But I do find it interesting that, like you said before, Sandy Duncan was just all over that episode. In a good way. Not, all over the places and, but, she was very committed to being a guest. And we talked about briefly, I feel like we briefly brought this up before, because there were a couple others, and I was like, man, we didn't see very much of that person. And I don't know, I'm noticing it's more of a pattern than I thought it would be. So.
Something to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that is something that I bring in, and maybe it's something that we repeat the whole time we're going through the series, because I would just like to see the name, how big was the name at the time, and how much are they ingrained in the episode versus just kind of being there randomly, I guess.
Yeah.
So she is present for the talk spot, which our guests usually always are. She's trying to take Kermit's picture, and I think it's hysterical because Kermit's all leaned back, kind of paint me like one of your French girls. He's all got one leg. He's got one arm behind him and one leg going to the side. And I died laughing. They get interrupted by Sweetums, though, because Sweetums is admiring Candice's camera. And she tells him a bit about it, referring to it as a terrific camera. So Sweetums then just proceeds to eat it. And he claims to have tasted better.
Oh, okay.
I was like, alrighty then. Alrighty. Cameras were very expensive at that time, so... Sweetums has a very expensive appetite.
Yeah, he does. Or Muppets tend to eat things that you don't always, think are food items. Or they always tend to do that thing where they just shove stuff in their mouths. Yeah. Especially the larger Muppets.
Regardless of how spicy it is, too, right?
Yeah. Speaking of spicy.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's exactly what the Swedish chef decides to do.
yeah, this is very funny.
On the Swedish Chef cooking show, we have spicy sauce.
Sweetie spicy sauce, or whatever he calls it.
You're better at it.
Sweetie spicy first.
Sweetie spicy, yeah. It is so hot that smoke starts pouring out of his ears, and his hat flies off. I'd be dead. I can't do it. I can't do the spicy.
No? No flaming hot for you?
No flaming hot Cheetos for me. No.
I like spicy food, but not to the point where it's painful spicy.
I can't do painful spicy. I like a little spice, but I like flavor.
Yeah.
It's like I don't like it when there's so much spice, which it does. It kills me. Like literally, I feel like I'm dying. I don't like when there's so much spice that I can't even taste the spices that were used. Maybe if they got it spicy enough, though, you wouldn't taste your cilantro. You'd be just fine. I wonder what the Swedish chef thinks about cilantro.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Cilantro wasn't a thing back then, I don't think. Cilantro was one of those things that,
I don't think it was big. I think it was brought in, like...
Yeah, like I remember, like, balsamic vinegar just showed up one day.
Yeah.
Or like
honestly, like, avocados. My grandmother said she remembers, like, before when avocados were not a thing here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now I can't go without them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Swedish chef, he's got some good ideas. It's the execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the trouble in. Mm-hmm.
So we have our art instructor, Andre, who sings Look at That Face as the Muppets paint portraits of Candice. When Andre is dissatisfied with Animal's random work, though, Animal just paints on Candice.
And they're all painting portraits of Candice, and they all look like them.
Yeah.
Candice's face when she's getting painted on is hysterical.
It's so funny.
Utter shock.
Again, this would go into the, did they tell her this was taking place? There's actually a still I just found of it where she literally looks like, what the hell did you just do? Like I can't tell if she thinks it's funny or not. Fozzie comes running in, though, with a note for Kermit. The frog. And it's a G-sharp note provided by our 3 singing frogs. Which I think one later ends up appearing as his nephew. Is that one of them?
No, I don't think
that one of them. Okay.
Let me look at it again.
There's a specific one, and you can tell because he looks different from all the others. Is that him on the end?
I'm trying to look for no, I'm looking watching him, but yeah, no, it's not Robin.
Okay. Yeah, Robin was made to specifically look different from all the other little froggy tadpole kids, but at the same time he blends in with them too. Like he looks different, but yeah.
Gee, Uncle Kermit. That's how he sounds.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, those are look like the frogs, some of the frogs that we meet in Muppets Take Manhattan.
That is very true. I love that one. That's a good one. Oh, they're all good. I say that about all of them. All right. What time is it? Do you know what time it is? Literally.
Oh, it's another time for the continuing story of an orthopedic surgeon who's gone to the dogs.
Yes. So Behemoth, we talked about him briefly a moment ago. Behemoth is at the hospital for a tummy ache and a sore throat. So Dr. Bob, it's like the banana guy. We're laughing. Dr. Bob hits his tummy with a hammer, giving him a tummy ache. But the patient explains that he has a sore throat and he wants it to go away. Turns out he has a frog in his throat. And it's Kermit, who's quite annoyed.
Would you get out of here? That's how Kermit gets.
He threatens to cancel the whole thing.
Yeah, just see if this dumb doctor sketch makes it on the show ever again.
And then it's like my favorite, and Kermit's like, no!
He's
do we get our tune in
next week? Yeah, we get a tune in next week, yeah.
What do they say on this one? Do you remember?
Tune in. Oh, God, I just had it up.
And he's like, God, Miranda. It's usually funny.
Let's see. Playing.
Have we ever followed through to see if the tune in next week is what really happens next week?
No. In the case of an ingrown TV show host, when you'll hear Dr. Bob say, let's clean up around here. This operating room is a mess. That's nothing. You should see it in here. Talking about inside Behemoth.
Oh, I love that one so much. Veterinarian's Hospital is seriously the best. And I think it has a lot to do with the talking narrator that just doesn't. Mm-hmm. So Fozzie believes that he has the perfect topper for his running gag. So he starts calling out flour for Kermit the Frog, flour for Kermit the Frog. And then he pours a bag of flour on Kermit's head. This is seriously why he loses his crap, guys. Like,
yeah, because he's got to deal with this crap all the time.
It's like raising a toddler.
It is.
It is. Piggy, though, is tired of the abuse to her frog, and she punches Fozzie.
Oh.
He gets a hi-ya.
Yes, as he deserved.
He did. I mean, I get it. He's trying real hard. Fozzie tries real hard, bless his heart. And often, a lot of times, we feel sorry for him. But right now, I think he brought this upon himself. So we get Candice one last time. She closes out our show here, basically, and singing Friends. And with her, she has Gonzo, Blue Frackle, Hilda, Fozzie, Mildred Huckstetter, Rolf, Kermit, and Scooter. And this is the closing number of the show. This song is perhaps best known as Bette Midler's theme song, and it was spoofed on Sesame Street by Bette Midler herself, inspired Miss M as the sublime Miss M.
Ah.
So I thought, I mean, again, cute enough, funny enough, good enough, like, right? Like, that's how most of them are. I love when the Muppets join along as a chorus. Like, that's always, to me, really good. So Kermit decides to allow Fozzie to wrap up the show. So he calls Candice on stage. We hear someone calling out, "Pie for Fozzie the Bear, pie for Fozzie the Bear." So Kermit enters with a pie, and he asks, "Are you Fozzie the Bear?" Although Fozzie's reply is no, Kermit hits him with the pie for revenge anyway, and he accidentally hits Candice with it too, which Fozzie decides to call Kermit out on that.
It just looks like she's like forcing herself to do this. I don't know.
Yeah. Like there's a still of this. So you can find different stills of different spots that she's in this show on the wiki. The one that, and there's part of it like she looks like she's laughing, but she almost looks like she's cringing laughing and moving out of the way. Like, again, they didn't tell her this was going to take place, and like she maybe wasn't okay with it. The only clip or still that I found with her in it that looked like through the whole episode that she was truly like enjoying it was when she was doing that song where she points the gun at him, and yeah, she looked like she was actually kind of having fun on that one. And maybe she was, because she was like, yeah, this is how I truly feel. So overall thoughts on Candice Bergen as the special guest and the episode itself?
Yeah, I thought she was okay. I don't think she was as present as she could have been.
Agreed.
But, I think that's her personality too. Yeah. So a little standoffish, I guess, at times.
I feel like if she, when you were talking about celebrities and if you came up to her in public and was like, "Oh, Miss Bergen, can I have an autograph?" I think she'd be like, "Please go away and leave me alone."
Yeah, I don't need you here. Go.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry, you're not part of my day. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody's met her and she's nice as can be, but she doesn't come across that way in Murphy Brown, in the re-release of Murphy Brown, in this episode. I mean, that's her whole point, and is congeniality is actually
fun fact is she's very lucky to be alive, actually, because her boyfriend at the time was actually who Charles Manson was looking for that night that Sharon Tate was murdered.
That is true.
And they had rented, they had, I guess, Roman Polanski and Sharon Tate were staying at their place when they were away. And
I had forgotten that that's whose place it actually belonged to. Yes. That is, I mean, and maybe that's one of the reasons why she is like she is. Maybe she's like, oh my God. Like that has to do something to your psyche, that you left your friends to watch your home, and then you come home to that.
Yeah.
Like, how horrific. I'm so glad that she was not taken so violently, but I hate that anyone was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I had totally forgotten. You said that and it relit something in my brain, but wow. So, I'm glad that that didn't happen, but I do think she wasn't the best fit for the Muppet Show.
No, not really.
Even I love her. Like I said that when we went into the episode, I love her. She's great. But it's like her counterpart in Miss Congeniality there, Shatner. I feel like, and he's known for telling people, like, go away, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, go away, leave me alone. I feel like they maybe have the same kind of persona.
It could be.
I mean, that's what I think. So we'll go to episode 16, which is our last for the evening, and kind of roll on along here. This is episode 116. To make Kermit jealous, Miss Piggy instructs Scooter to tell him that Avery is in love with her. So we have a male guest this time. Mm-hmm. Kermit finds out that it's all a trick, and Piggy karate chops everybody. That's our basic gist of the show. We get some hi-yas out of her. So I will be honest, I did not know who our special guest was.
No clue who Avery Schreiber was, huh? I
didn't know. And then I read who he was, and I'm like, oh, okay.
He's a very 70s and 80s character actor. Had that, that look with the funny mustache and expressions. Mm-hmm. He was on maybe 2 episodes of Saved by the Bell, where he played a science teacher, from what I remember.
Okay.
Like I think he's like, you gave me an F. He's like, well, they don't allow us to give M's. But yeah, okay. He appeared in like a lot of like Mel Brooks stuff and like one little part here and there, and yeah, he's just one
of those like you would recognize him in the background kind of thing.
Saw him on like Hollywood Squares and Password and Match Game, like that. He was like that circuit, like he would.
I didn't recognize him enough, but now that you're saying that, like I'm familiar with who you're referring to, if that makes sense. But I didn't recognize him when I pulled him up. Unfortunately, we had to add him to like Mr. Bruce Forsyth. He has passed away. He was born April 9th of 1935, passed away January 7th of 2002, known as an American actor and comedian. It does say he was a veteran of stage, television, and movies. He came to prominence in the 60s with the comedy duo Jack Burns. He acted in an array of acting roles, mostly on television sitcoms, and in a series of very popular advertisements for Doritos tortilla chips.
Yes, I remember his Doritos commercials.
He was
like crunching the Doritos, yeah.
I gotta go look those up and see if they are available anywhere. So going into this, I did not know who he was. Now I do, now that you're like refreshing memories, but it wasn't like Candice Bergen. Like I knew who that was. We have our Muppet Show open, and we have to note that Fozzie's opening joke from this episode was actually featured on the Muppet Show album, by the way. Yeah. So this time, Gonzo hits Beautiful Day Monster instead of the O.
What's his name?
You remember this guy? We've talked about him. His name is Beautiful Day Monster.
Oh, Beautiful Day. I thought you said Beautiful Gay Monster. I'm like, what?
Beautiful Day. He's the blue Muppet monster that was remembered from Ed Sullivan's show in 1969. Because he ruined a girl's beautiful day.
Okay. Yeah, he's like the blue version of Behemoth, basically.
Yeah. There was on the Ed Sullivan show, there was a little sketch, a little girl that looks very much like Prairie Dawn or Louise there from a prior episode that we talked about this evening. And he basically ruins her day. And so he's named, they just decided to give him that name. He's gone by many names on Sesame Street. He's appeared on Sesame Street. And so you'll also hear him referred to as Fred, Harold, Louise, Snooky, Lulu, and Wendy.
Yeah.
But he's mainly the Beautiful Day Monster. So instead of the O this time, he gets whacked.
Yeah, he punches him right square in the face.
Yes, he does. One of your favorites goes on. Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem. And they perform tenderly, but it's adapted to the band's loud, energetic sensibilities, you could say.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very good number. Nice.
It is. I usually enjoy any time they do a song, honestly.
One thing I always thought they should do for in Disney World was do an Electric Mayhem like concert. Like you would go like an attraction, and you go in there and they're animatronics, and they perform like a couple of songs, and it's like a concert venue.
That would be fantastic.
We need more Muppets down there, I swear.
We do need more. I feel like we almost need like Muppets need their own like theme park, or maybe like I know that they're part of Disney. I get that, but it's almost like how at Universal when you go, there's like the Simpsons have their own chunk, and Harry Potter has his.
Yeah,
chunk.
They have a Muppets Land.
Yeah, Muppet Land. Oh, for sure. I think you get way more interest in that than I think they think they would, basically.
Yeah, I think so.
So as we said, Piggy is our main backstage gag this week, and she's come up with this clever plan. She wants to make Kermit jealous, and she's decided to take on the help of Scooter to carry out this scheme, and she has Scooter basically tell Kermit that the guest star, Avery, is just mad about her. Which, I think it's funny how she gets so jealous every time a female comes on. There have been a few times that Kermit literally does like melt. He really does get like, and she usually she's gone after some males before. Yeah. And Kermit usually doesn't get jealous. He's like, it's okay. Piggy, it's almost like he's like, I know she's coming home with me tonight. No biggie. Like, Kermit does report on a gladiator match between Sir Avery of Macho and the Monster of Moors. Sir Avery challenges the monster to a battle with the weapons.
Avery's very into the being expressiveness and sight gags and all that stuff.
Yes,
that's really where his comedy comes from.
I feel like if we're comparing, so Bruce got in the episode, but he was okay, right? Sandy really got into it. Candice, we're not sure. We have mixed. We're not sure about that. I feel like Avery ran with this.
Yes.
I feel like because of the type of like expressive person he is, from what I was reading in the wiki when I was trying to figure out who he was, I feel like this was made for him, basically.
Yeah. It's like if you just watch the way he's like reacting to Sweetums.
Yes. And Sweetums has like the same face as him, like they're making the same facial. It's so funny. I loved this one so much. And it's the weapon of insult.
and he goes with everything. Like he walks into stuff where the helmet won't come off and he just runs with it. Yeah, it's just he's just a pro comedian. That's really what it is.
Oh yeah. There is something about a comedian where they can make you laugh, or comedians do more than make people laugh, even though they're mainly known for being funny, right? But it's something about a guy like this that all he has to do is like give one look.
Yeah.
And it could be like something just with his eyes, but like an expression incites a reaction.
Yeah. Like somebody like now, he's probably not as, but if like say like John Belushi ever hosted the Muppet Show, John Belushi could be on the Muppet Show and never say a word and still be hysterical. If you just the way he used to do the facials, and Avery Schreiber is kind of doing that where he's playing with the background, he's reacting off thing, and he's got Kermit doing the basically play-by-play on the side, and he's dressed in this ridiculous costume. It's just everything works.
Yes, it's like the person that has the face that doesn't lie. I am one of those. My face does not lie. I try really hard. And I think that there's just something that can be said about his ability. I also have it on in the background. Andy and I usually, when we are doing a podcast together, if we're referring to any sort of show, movie, we have it on in the background. And so I'm watching his face, and that's why I decided to like really go into this. Like he's even like pretending to like be upset. I don't know. It's fantastic. This so far is probably one of my more favorite episodes of this season. I know we're at number 16, but I think this is up there as one of the better ones. They basically just insult each other. It's great.
Yes, it's an insult battle.
Yes, and Sweetums is like, I give up, you win, I win, you done. We go into another segment that I know you and I both really like, which is Muppet Labs.
Oh, yes.
Have we had a Muppet Labs yet?
We might have had one.
I don't think remember.
Yeah.
I'm Dr.
Bunsen Honeydew.
Yes. Oh my God, you do it so perfect. And this week he's demonstrating his gorilla detector.
Yes, it is. It's really funny. Actually, I think the gorilla detector was in like one of the Muppet figures. I think sets that. I don't know if I have.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I and that's also I have the Muppet Labs set also.
Oh, I would love to see if the gorilla is part of that. That's so funny. So it's supposed to be a detector that tells you essentially if a gorilla is around. Like if you risk the potential. I've got the hiccups. I'm so sorry. If you risk the potential of being attacked by a gorillas, right? So this gorilla comes over into the lab and literally is ripping it apart. Things are on fire. Smoke is going everywhere. And he's like, as you can see, this creature must not be a gorilla, because if he was a gorilla, this would light up.
Yes, nothing ever works in the Muppet Labs.
Not when it's supposed to, because this one is what's funny is he actually like carries Bunsen Honeydew away, the gorilla does. And as he's carrying him away, it starts working.
I don't know if this was meant to be the Samsonite gorilla or not. I don't know if I doubt you're old enough to remember, but the Samsonite luggage had commercials, and that they touted that the luggage was good enough to stand up to being up by a gorilla. So every
I do remember that actually.
Yeah, so it looks like the Samsonite gorilla, but I don't know. Could be just me.
Well, maybe they just used like the same costume. Like maybe it was just like a generic.
Yeah, there's not
costume.
that. You don't have a lot of differences in the dancing gorilla costume at this time.
No. So we got our backstage gag going on, and Kermit has asked Scooter to go get Avery, but Scooter tells him he cannot, that cannot be done. He tells his boss that Miss Piggy is in Avery's dressing room, and he does not want to be disturbed. And the frog is kind of disgusted by this. I think this is the first time I've seen where he's actually genuinely like upset that Piggy is like being fawned over by someone.
He gets a little jealous.
Yeah. Because we just said a minute ago that typically doesn't happen. Usually she's jealous because, he's like fallen into a slump because of one of the female guests. This next skit I think is great because it then goes again into Avery's expressiveness, which I wrote down Mr. Noodle.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So I like Mr. Noodle. Yes.
It was just based on Charlie Chaplin, basically. But I got Mr. Noodle vibes.
Yeah.
Like for real. If you do not know who Mr. Noodle is, he was a reoccurring guest sketch on Sesame Street during Elmo's World.
Yeah.
Or during Elmo time.
Very big on my house when it came to
yes, we loved Elmo. We had every Elmo possible. Yeah, so maybe that's why. And I loved Elmo when I was little. Like, he didn't come along till later, but I still loved him. He was great. My favorite one was the Blanky, when he loses in Blanky Land or something. In Grouchland. When he loses
Elmo.
Blanky.
Elmo in Grouchland.
In Grouchland. Yes, I love that one so much. So in this one, Avery plays a security guard at a museum, and he decides to have a bite to eat next to a painting, air quotes there, boys and girls, of Fozzie. Whenever Avery turns away, Fozzie reaches through a frame and tries to steal his food. What's so great about this is, like Andy and I said, the expressions, like he's trying to fluff his napkin and he's like confused, like as to what's going on. Finally, Avery just climbs into the painting next to Fozzie to fight for his food. An opportunity presents itself where they can both eat because they steal Rolf's food as he comes in to do the same thing.
It's quite funny.
Oh, I love that one. I think this man was made for the Muppets. Like, seriously.
Yes.
So we go back to the dance, and this time Animal. Animal's dance partner reveals that she's not into meditation, but sedation.
Ooh.
And before that, there's a joke that I thought was funny. The pigs are talking to each other, and she's like, "This morning I weighed like 104 pounds," and he's like, "Stripped?" And she's like, "No, of course not. I was at the pharmacy or something." I don't know why I found that one so funny. The thought of somebody possibly like stripping down to their skivvies in public to weigh themselves. I'm very concerned for Animal's date, though.
Yeah. He's just bouncing around. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
Yeah.
But then she does the same thing to him and tips him like very, very profoundly.
Yeah. We get our UK spot next. We get Baskerville, Muppy, Catgut, and they serenade us, or they actually serenade a photograph rather of Lassie. You can tell, so it's Ralph with them as well, and they see "May You Always." So they apparently are obsessed with Lassie. I realized Muppy's tongue does not stay in her mouth. Much like my dog. I've never realized that before. Lassie is quite the handsome dog, so I mean, I guess I get it.
Yeah.
But they sing to this framed photo. I think it's cute. I don't know why, but I thought this was very cute.
Yeah, it's a nice spot.
Some of our UK spots are just kind of silly. I loved "I Am My Own Grandpa," but let's be honest, it was silly. We go to our talk spot next, where Avery plays Miss Piggy's game of making Kermit jealous. Like, he's aware that this is a game, and he's willing to play it. And it works. Mm-hmm. Because I should start taking count at how many times Kermit loses his crap.
Yeah, each time.
Because, again, it happens.
Yeah.
And I think what the best part about this is again, this time it's not so much Avery's facial expression. He still has them. They're exaggerated, like in a good way, though. But they're subtle. And I think that's what's funny is he doesn't, like, he gets so excited. Piggy, Kermit blows up at Avery, calling Piggy his girl, and even tells her that she will be joining him for dinner. And then they kind of have a moment together where he's like, "Oh, great, I can help you." But then he tells her he couldn't kiss a pig on the lips.
Yeah, and he gets quite the hi-ya.
He does. Knocks him in the floor.
Yes. Probably the biggest hi-ya we've seen so far.
I would agree.
On a guest.
Yeah. And maybe that is his comedic overreaction that we actually love from him that I think has really made this episode. Maybe it's because of that, because he goes with it.
Yeah.
We do now get the finest singing team, according to Sam. He says, in fact, in recording, when he hears them sing, he goes, "Aw." We have Wayne sings "Some Enchanted Evening" to Wanda. It doesn't go well for poor Wayne again.
It never goes well for Wayne.
It does not. Wayne needs to stop trying to serenade and romanticize. That's probably the wrong way to use it. Mm-hmm. He stops needing to be romantic and serenade Wanda because, he can't. Cats have 9 lives. Wayne's running out of them. He's not a cat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's running out of lives here.
I don't know, but the whole thing, Muppets eating, people or the whole thing, that, freaked me out as a kid. I was afraid, a Muppet was going to eat me.
I could see that because while he's not one of the big, looks like a human Muppets, he is supposed to be a human.
But that's,
Muppet.
Been a thing.
Yeah.
With giant Muppets over, eating people and eating things. And, H.R. Puff and stuff freaked me out a little bit, stuff like that.
I can totally see that. And he does. He gets eaten. And he says... Wanda protests and says, "He said meat, not eat, a stranger." That is pretty funny. But not as funny as...
The veterinarian's hospital, the continuing story of an orthopedic specimen has gone to the dogs. They don't say quack yet. I noticed that. And that changes it because I remember it as being the ongoing story of a quack who's gone to the dogs.
I'm with you. So I wonder at what point that happens. Bob and his assistants toss some chicken jokes around. And they're like, no, that's not a chicken. And it clogs. The reason is, as Miss Piggy reveals, is that Bob is for the birds.
He's a bird
He says,
dog.
I fly south every winter. Don't your arms get tired, the girls say?
But
He's like, there will now be a moment of silence. Why? For that joke that just died in the operating room. Seriously, doctor, what about the patient? Well, we have a choice. We can do a chicken appendectomy or a chicken tonsillectomy or a chicken curry fricassee. Oh my God, I love this one so much. It seriously is just like a continuous stream of dad jokes.
Yes.
But this chicken's just laying there clearly. So he's clearly in pain. So we end our little segment.
Next week, you'll hear Nurse Piggy say, many of Dr. Bob's patients are chickens. Why is that? Because he's for the birds.
So here comes Piggy. She's still in her costume where she's just coming off stage. And Kermit reveals to Piggy that he's not jealous, but rather Scooter had told him that it was all a trick.
Mm-hmm. Scooter with the big mouth.
Scooter does have, again, this is where Scooter's sticking his nose in things like a little brother, like he just shouldn't do. Mm-hmm. So this whole time, Piggy and Kermit are trying to have this conversation, and Scooter's just running around behind them going, stand by, Fozzie, stand by, Fozzie, stand by. And we get another hi-ya.
Yeah, Scooter gets it pretty good here.
He does. He flips backwards.
Yeah.
So Kermit comes out on stage. He says it's time for the king of the one-liners. He gets all excited, does his hand flap, jazz hands, and Fozzie's comedy act. So here's some stuff that's really funny. Hey, I'm not a dope, and I'm no dummy. But that's not. And so Statler and Waldorf go, well, how come all your stuff is so crummy?
With the rhyming puns here.
I like puns. Actually, I have a whole interaction with a friend on Facebook from yesterday. I'll have to screenshot over to you. That was really funny, and I was very punny. So Avery comes out to actually defend Fozzie from Statler and Waldorf, relating how he's used to being heckled by his comedy partners. And he convinces Fozzie to try a bit of what he's always wanted to do. The banana in the ear gag. Which, again, you know what I wrote down? Bananas again?
Funny shtick. Yeah.
Apparently. So here we go. Banana in the ear. He's right. It does look dumb. Yeah. See you, Fozzie. So
he just leaves him there.
Yeah, he just leaves him there. He's like, just kidding. And he's like, nobody laughed. So then Avery does it, and they die. They die laughing. He leaves them in stitches. Every Statler and Waldorf reveal, like, it's his pace, it's his timing, it's his delivery. No, it's his ear.
Yeah, it's really about how he does it, you know.
It is. He's like, you see, Jack, I told you it would work. It's the greatest thing in life. And Statler and Waldorf are just back there, like, to the point where one of them is about to fall out of the chair. He's slapping the other one, like, he punches him. He gets tired of getting slapped. So there's a Muppet News Flash.
We need to go to win a fight between Statler and Waldorf. I think my money's on Waldorf. He's got the base. I mean, Statler's a little more lanky, maybe has the reach, but I think Waldorf has the little weight on him.
He does have some weight on him, but the height. I mean, maybe that would,
I don't know. Something to think about for the next episode.
Oh, yes. Please tell us, who do you think would win in a fight, Statler or Waldorf? So we have a Muppet News Flash for tonight.
And there's no news.
There's no news. This is actually a repeat from episode 105. So then we get Avery again, which again, you notice a significantly more amount of our special guests this time than we did last time. And Avery plays Make a Song with some of the Coosbanians. I say it, Coosbanians.
Coosbanians, yeah.
We've been over this. I couldn't say it right last time. The Coosbanians, two Fazoobs, an Eel, and Shanky Sanchez. Oh, and Mel. Can't forget Mel.
Oh, dear.
So there's a lot of people in here. The Coosbanians being my favorite.
You know, y'all think Miranda and I get along so great, but then, you know, I do get yelled at sometimes, you know, in chats, like, what are you making me pronounce this stuff? She would curse me out about when we came up with the show title. It's like, I got to say this thing every episode, so I'm sure I'm going to be getting it.
Oh, which word was it that I was like, oh my God, please, I have to say it like 20 times.
Well, it took a little while for you to remember the title and the exact.
I'm not even. Hey, there have been a few times where I don't have to pull it up to say it, and then other times I have to pull it up because I overthink it, and then I like screw it up, and then like, adult ADHD sucks, people. Okay,
just remember it's Sickum. Inspirational, Celebrational, Muppetational, Sickum.
I'll try to remember that.
Okay.
So Make a Song is actually an original guitar and scat piece written by Avery and arranged by Derek Scott. It's performed, obviously, on this Muppet Show by Avery and the full list of Coosbanian. Well, it says 2 Coosbanian pups, the male Coosbanian creature, Shaky Sanchez, Mel, and 2 members of the Fazoobs. Fazoob? I don't remember what the Fazoobs here are. I need to see what they are. Oh, they are the musical aliens from the planet Coosbane. So they are also from Coosbane. It's just that they are a specific group. We see them later. It says much later we'll find out more about them. So I apparently have to say Coosbanians a lot. It sounds like a made-up Borat place.
Very nice.
From Coosbania.
I'm from Coosbania. My wife.
God, I hate those movies so much. And yes,
I've never actually sat down and watched them because I refuse to waste that much of my life on those. Sorry, those of you like Borat, good for you. Like same people like Jack.
Congratulations! Like that's awesome. I don't yuck your yum, but I watched the second time.
I never heard that before. I don't yuck.
You never heard of?
No, yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So I won't rain on your parade or anything. But that second one, one of our friends was like, oh my God, we should turn that one on. I thought the first one was funny, and we turned it on, and like Jerry and I both thought it was horrible, but like, and our friend even thought it was horrible, but like for some reason they couldn't turn it off, and it just kept getting worse. And I was like, at one point I was like, I am seriously like disturbed and bothered. It was, oh my God. If you find it funny, like congratulations. I'm glad you got a movie to watch and you enjoyed it, but I did not. Hated it. But it does. Like, we can crack a joke, because does it not sound like a Borat?
Yes, country? It kind of does, yes.
Coosbanians. Anyway, the Coosbanians are cooler. So, anyway. So we close out our show with our wonderful guest, who I wish I had known more of his works. I think I want to look them up and find them now. And maybe he's in the background of things and I just didn't realize it. At our closing, though, Kermit does bring him out, Mr. Avery. And he does brag to him about having control in his relationship with Miss Piggy. Piggy then comes on stage to reveal who really has control. And once again, for the 3rd time in this episode, which I think is the most hi-yas in any episode, possibly.
Yeah, could be.
Poor Kermie gets hi-ya'd. Well, they just say karate chopped, but it's, I mean, it's a Piggy hi-ya. Yeah,
it's her own version of a karate chop, let's just say.
Yeah. Yeah, because he even jokes. He's like, don't worry, I can handle Miss Piggy. I say jump. She says, how high? And she's like, you open your mouth, my fist goes down. Hi-ya! And then she kind of cuddles up to Avery, and then Piggy hi-ya's him again. So we actually get 4. Oh, 5. Oh.
Wow. It's a lot.
So as the credits roll, we are at the count of 5 hi-yas from Miss Piggy in one episode. So out of these 4 episodes, we had 2 that I was kind of familiar with. One I absolutely knew, one I did not know. So we get to add 1 to the Miranda did not know. That brings our tally up to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And our no longer with us tally is now up to 7, which I think for 16 episodes is sad.
Yeah, well, we got to remember these shows were from almost 40 years ago.
Yes, that is true. That is very true.
We had 4. Actually, more than 40 years ago.
4, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
4 great episodes, I would say, out of all 4 of these. The Avery episode, maybe even the Sandy, they tie kind of neck and neck. Do you have a favorite and a least favorite of our 4 this week?
Of course, it's the Avery, and the is the favorite, and the least favorite, of course, is Candice Bergen.
Yeah,
I think Candice is probably one of the weaker episodes we've had so far out of all of them, actually.
I would agree. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she was going through something at the time. Maybe it was just bad timing on her part when she was asked. Or you know what? Who knows? Maybe she asked, because we read once that they actually had people that would ask to be like, no, I love the Muppets. I want to be on your show. I don't know what the case is. I wish that was put into, whoever developed the wiki that I used to map out our podcast. I wish someone had put in there, like, whether that person asked or was asked to be on the show. But that may not be something that's readily available. I know they had a list once of so-and-so. I would have to find it. Like, these people begged to be on the show because how much they love the Muppets. So I wonder if maybe she was the person that she asked, but she was like, I'm only here. I want to come on and just do a couple of skits, or maybe the original person wasn't able, and they were like, hey, would you be interested? And she's like, yeah, but only for this much. I'm not, who knows, whatever the reason was. But I think, unfortunately, it made the episode fall kind of flat, because one of the things I love the most about these is, while we love the Muppets individually, we have our favorites. I love the interactions with the special guest. And we clearly saw this week that, unfortunately, the special guest can both make the episode and break it. I think.
Yeah.
I did note that I found out later. It was hard to tell, and I forgot to say this earlier, but this is where you've said this before, how Janice looked different. Mm-hmm. Talking about Piggy looked different. So this is where a new Janice puppet is introduced into the episode. It's in a backstage scene in the opening number in the vet's hospital. The old puppet is used. So in the veterinarian hospital, it's the old Janice, but in the new opening number, it's the new Janice. Oh. And we've talked about this. We actually speculated, but it actually says here, this is the first episode to actually imply that Kermit does have feelings for Miss Piggy.
Okay.
Because before, he's been like, no, don't worry about her, whatever. This time, he actually does flat out say, she's my girl. Kermit does recite a quote, which he claims he said in 1932. Which Newt Rockney apparently says in 1932. This is not possible, though, as he died in 1931.
Oh, jeez.
So, there were some weird edits when this aired on Nickelodeon years later. The scene where Scooter tells Kermit about Avery and Miss Piggy being romantic behind Kermit's back was actually cut out. So they removed that whole section.
Okay.
And telling him, and I just watched, obviously it was on the background. We rewatched it to do this. I don't recall it being that, unless it was Nickelodeon being like, some kids will understand what that means. Let's not do it. I don't know. If you're interested and you're curious, there is a wonderful website. They have one for pretty much everything you can think of in the world, called fandom.com. Usually the name of the fandom goes in front. So in this instance, it's muppet.fandom.com. I have no anything to do with the site. Neither does Andy. It's been around for years and years and years, and it has so much information. So if you're ever interested in what I use to guide us along, where I get the majority of my information, it's not where I get all of my information, but where I get like little fun facts and extra content and random information about Muppets when I don't know who they are, that is where it comes from. So overall, I would agree with you. Avery was my favorite. Sandy was really good, and Candice's episode was lacking.
Yep.
Next time, we will come to you with episodes 17, 18, 19, and 20. If you look them up, like I said before, it's 116, 117. We will be talking about Ben Vereen. Is that correct?
Ben
Phyllis
Vereen.
Diller, Phyllis Diller, Vincent Price, and Valerie Harper. So, if you want to go ahead and watch those in advance to join us on the next episode, you can do so. Or if you want to wait and listen to our commentary, that would be great too. I don't know how long it'll be, what the gap will be into when we will be back again for episode 5. But until then, Andy, can you tell everybody kind of some of the different things that we're doing here and where everybody can find you on social media?
Yeah. Well, I don't really do much on the social. Just follow the website and the feed, PlaceToBeNation.com, and PlaceToBeNation Pop has a Twitter also, and like them on Facebook. Join the Place to Be Facebook group. All kinds of great shows right now. As of this recording, I am wrapping up 2 concurrent coverage runs on Pop Goes to the Couch with Sean, Tim, and Scott. We covered Book of Boba Fett. And we're looking forward to Obi-Wan Kenobi when that comes in late May. And then we also did Peacemaker, which was great. Oh, my God. It really passed, expectations. And it was a lot of fun. And, when new movies come out, we do Pop Goes to Movies. Year and Pop will be back soon, I hope, as well as Pop Goes to Rewatch, Laugh in Theater, all kinds of fun stuff. And Pop Goes to Classics Disney. We drop those monthly, me and Steve.
Yes, we do. So as Andy said, we do have monthly Disney podcasts where we are working our way through the classics, starting with the from the first and making our way. So we will be doing this for some time. So content to come. Don't worry about that. As of course we are going to pick back up and continue this podcast. We have actually a lot that can be found on a whole plethora on here, our own Place to Be, as well as our group, what we refer to as our quadrupods. You can go on our website. Please, I highly encourage you, go to the website. It's where all of these shows are posted. That's where links to the other podcasts that we consider our brother and sister feeds that we have great friendships with. And you can find all the information there. There's great articles. If you're following along with our Disney podcast, our counterpart, Steve, our tri-host, as we refer to ourselves, our tri-host there actually has articles written about the Disney movies as well, and different little fun, like who's the top prince and things like that you can check out over there. The group is another fantastic way to join and follow pretty much anyone that is part of any podcast here on any of the feeds. We all discuss various things over there. We have Song of the Day. There's a lot of wrestling discussion. During like Halloween and Christmas, I put up a different movie every single day for you to watch along with. There's a lot there. You can find me over on the Instagram. You just type in @MomsNerd. That's not my direct handle, but if you type in MomsNerd, you will find me. I am on Twitter. If you have followed me, which I logged in the other day to Twitter and I had like 15 new followers. Hi, welcome. I'm sorry. I am horrible at the Twitter. I think it's a little too much for my brain. It's too much too fast. I'm really bad at the Twitter. But there's a lot of ways that you can connect with anyone here on Place to Be, for sure. Of course, as we mentioned earlier, we talked a lot about Stream Lounge, but we'd still love for you to join us over there, as we will be streaming more Muppet content, as well as other content to come from Andy and I as well. Go ahead and go up there and follow both of us, Laugh in Theater and Moms and Nerds, so that you can get updates on when we will be going live.
Also, Blockbuster Rewatch.
Yes, I forgot you have two.
Yeah, I do. Right now I'm in the middle of the MCU rewatch, so I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy with Scott Criscuolo, and I do those every other Wednesday. I try, as well as, and Miranda and I and Scott Shiflett will hopefully start doing monthly. We're starting with Harry Potter from Sorcerer's Stone, and we'll go all the way up to Deathly Hallows Part 2. We're hoping to do those monthly. So, and that will be on a Sunday around 3 o'clock to make it work for all three of us. So hopefully everybody shows up there.
And I cannot remember, there are, as Andy let you guys know earlier, we talk a little bit more about it now. There are a lot of platforms currently that we can pull media from and watch and discuss live on there. Currently it is Netflix, Disney Plus. I think there's like a racing, I don't know.
MotoGP.
MotoGP.
There's HBO Max. There's Netflix.
No Amazon yet, right?
No. Well, they're working on YouTube. I think they got YouTube up there.
Okay.
As well. So Peacock should be coming very soon.
Peacock. They are working on getting pretty much all of your main ones. Obviously, there's a lot of copywriting and a lot of the things that the guys over there have to go through to get them. Like I've already asked for 2. One I know is probably never going to happen, but we'll see. So as more things come out, like if Amazon is approved by that time, maybe I'll do Lord of the Rings. But definitely follow us.
Good God, bless your heart for that. Oh my God.
I love it.
Talk about a time commitment. Oh my God.
I know, but the new show's coming.
I'll check it.
The new show. I could do the new show. It'd be great.
Oh, okay. Not the movies. Jeez. Oof.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would be a great one, but that is a huge
time.
I don't know that I have the time, but I will do my best. But please go ahead and follow us over there. Join the Facebook group. I think you do have to be approved, so don't worry if you're like, why can't I see anything? You have to be approved. Follow us on all the socials. Listen to all of the things. Give us suggestions. Is there something that you don't see on our feed represented that you would love to see more of? I would love to hear your ideas, and you can message me on the Instagram. That's the easiest one. I'm on there more than anything. And yeah, just check out everything, which I feel like I've said like 1,000 times now. But I think the most people always are like, well, how can I support you? There's a couple of ways. You can listen. You can go to the website. You can share our podcast, any of the podcasts or the website with someone that you think would also be interested. Or you can leave a review. I'm not big on pushing people to leave reviews, but those are ways that if you want to support someone you listen to, like us, that's how you do them. So that's all the wonderful things. I don't have anything specific coming up other than the Harry Potter that I'm really excited to share. Maybe next time I will. So until that time, for Andy and I, here both at the Most Sensational, Inspirational, Celebrational, Muppetational Podcast. Please come back and join us next time.
Weekend in the swamp. Oh no!